Hello again. In this video we're going to talk about a very special technique that is normally used to make your sound more expressive. I'm talking about vibrato. This technique comes from the Baroque, when singers from opera started searching a new way to make their voice more expressive. They invented the vibrato, and then it was imitated by other instruments, like wind instruments like the flute. So from this moment on, people started to play with vibrato, which was not done before, but after opera, singers and players from any instrument, especially the wind instruments, started to play with vibrato. Some teachers think that vibrato should not be taught in a classroom. I think you need to learn how to make the vibrato and how to control the vibrato, because if you don't, you could get an uncontrolled vibrato, and it could be uncomfortable when you play with this kind of vibrato while you play a melody or a song. For example, if you play with a non-controlled vibrato, it will sound something like this. You have waves. We include to the flat sound, to the flat note, we include new waves in the sound of the note, and these waves they must be equal, the same, all of them. They must have the same distance between the high part of the wave and the low part. So if we don't control that, and if we don't control the speed between one wave and the other, you get an uncontrolled vibrato. So the question is how to make the vibrato with this flute. Okay, we're gonna use the diaphragm. It's a muscle that we have under our stomach, and the diaphragm helps the air to have constant force in order to keep your notes playing and equal all the time while you're playing your flute. So what we do is to increase with small waves the force of the note that you're playing with the help of the diaphragm. So what you get is the vibrato. You need to start thinking the vibrato like when you laugh. When you laugh, you produce this sound, ha. If we repeat this sound many times and faster every time, you will get something like this. Ha, 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 ha. Now, if we cut the G sound, the ha, and we mix it all together, you get something like this. Ha, 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 ha. And that's the vibrato, that's the correct vibrato. It's the same techniques that singers use when they sing. It's almost the same thing that we apply to the flute. So what we get is constant and regulated pushes from your diaphragm in order to be translated to your airflow and then to your note. You need to start by choosing any note you want. I prefer the second register of the flute, and then you start playing one note as long as you can. And then you start searching to increase, with the help of your diaphragm, the wave. I mean, you need to transform your flat note into new waves that come out from that flat note. For example, from the beginning, you need to maintain a regulated form in the waves that you add to your note. Like I did right now, it was like you need to maintain a constant speed, like wow, 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 wow. You're gonna maintain your flat note all the time, and you're just gonna add small waves that are gonna go up and down, but with the same frequency every time. Then when we achieve these, and when you can make a constant and regulated waves included to the flat sound that you had before, then you can start to add more waves, like 2 waves per sound, then 3 waves per sound, then 4 waves per sound, and finally 5 waves per sound, maintaining the same speed. And that will get you to a fine and great vibrato that you can control, and you can speed up or slow down depending on what you're playing. Let's make an example of the same exercise. First, I'm going to start with the flat note, adding slowly the control waves. maintaining the same pulse, I will add 2 waves per sound. Now I'm going to add 3 waves. Now 4. And finally 5. Once you get this, and you can change your speed, you can speed up and slow down and maintain your waves in the same position and in the same distance between one and the other, then you can say to yourself that you have achieved a good vibrato. And a vibrato you can apply in your playing, depending on what style of music are you going to be playing. Sometimes you can start with a slow vibrato and then speed it up if you're looking for a more intense phrase, or you can start with a fast and strong vibrato if you're playing something violent or aggressive in a melodic sense speaking. So the good thing about controlling your vibrato is that you will be able to play with it when you apply your vibrato to your flat notes and your songs. If you don't control your vibrato, you won't get the same results. You won't get enough advantage of this technique. So on conclusion, you're going to start by playing your flat note, your constant and plain note, whatever note you want. I recommend from the 2nd register, like a D for example, and then you're going to start adding small waves by increasing your airflow a little bit using the force of your diaphragm. You're going to start doing this maintaining your tempo. Once you control one wave at a time, you're going to start adding a 2nd wave, 2 waves, without losing your tempo, then 3 waves, then 4, and finally you get to 5 waves. And if you can make from 1 wave to 5 waves, maintaining your tempo without losing control on the distance between every wave and the same speed between one and the other, then you can say to yourself that you have achieved a good vibrato, and you can start playing with a new technique that will make your sound more expressive. One more thing, a good advice is don't use the vibrato all the time. You don't need to vibrate every note. Choose the most indicated notes to apply the vibrato. If you vibrate your sound while you're playing fast notes, it will sound weird and uncomfortable. So wait for the long notes and pauses and end of phrases to apply your vibrato, and this will make the use of your vibrato more professional and more efficient. I hope you find this information useful. My name is Daryl Anton. See you in the next video.